Zubo, a game that has been in my heart since I was a young child. Zubo is a rhythm action game released in 2008 by Electronic Arts Sprite Light in Europe, before being released in Japan and North America in 2009. I do not remember exactly when I first received the game, but I have many memories of playing it. Well, at least the first section of the game. It took me a bit to get to the second section of the game, and even longer to beat it. Over the past years, the nostalgia for playing the game has caused me to go back and fully replay it about once per year. Even when doing this, playing the game the same and likely intended way, over and over again, can get a bit boring. This is why, for this playthrough, I decided to give myself a bit of a challenge. Throughout playing the game, you need a total of 55 Zubos, and you're expected to add them to your team of 3, replacing previous ones. For this playthrough though, we hate variety, and will be sticking to our first 3 Zubos, who act as a tutorial and help you with the ropes of the game. The same 3 Zubos and the same 4 moves for each of them will be used throughout the entire game, for better or for worse. So without further ado, let's start our adventure in the land of Zubolon. So, to start the game, I go ahead and pick my gender, as well as name my character, Jay of course. Then I am transported into Zubolon, and immediately fall into a lake. After getting out of the water, I meet Zubo 1, the guy for the game that I am giving control by using the touchscreen to move. In this game, the touchscreen is used for everything, which will sometimes be good, and other times, After walking around and opening a gate and moving forward on the path, we get our first of 3 Zubos that will be on our team. Pinky! Pinky is British, at least from what I can tell from her shirt, who is a pop star and pink performer on her way to her gig with the rest of Team Pop. After agreeing to join her, we start to make our way to the pop stage before spotting a Zombo, or an enemy in the game. Zubo 1 explains the fighting mechanics, which include selecting a move and touching the screen when the orange line touches the red outline of a Zubo, which is usually on beat, so be awesome music present in these battles. After defeating the Zombo with patty cake, Zubo 1 teaches us about how to feed our Zubo, the main way we will be able to heal our Zubos between battles. After our battle with the Zombo, Pinky levels up and gets her second move, which compared to her first move ends up costing 1 power pill. This move is called Salsa Slap and allows her to heal the same amount of damage that she does to an opponent. After yet another battle, we meet the second member of our team, Rising Dragon, a yellow fighter from Team Hero whose goal is to protect us. Rising Dragon starts out with 2 moves, Pile Driver and Karate Kick, which both have nothing too special about them. After Zubo 1 explains how to switch between our Zubos in battle, we fight another Zombo to get a lever to a closed gate blocking our way, followed by another fight against 2 Zombos where Pinky levels up and gains her third move, Rock Out, which only main differentiation is the cost of 2 power pills, and that it's able to go through shields. We finally meet the last member of our team, Robo, a green defender from Team Bot. Robo starts out with 3 moves, Slam Dunk, a basic move, Spin Shield, a move that gives a member of our team a shield, and Spin Stun, a move that does damage and stuns the Zombo it was used on, but gives 1 less power pill than the other moves at our disposal. Now with 3 members on our team, Zubo 1 gives an explanation of strengths and weaknesses when it comes to the types of Zubo. A rock, paper, scissors type of gameplay, or Pokemon stereotypes without all the other types, more or less, is the way this works. The 3 types of Zubos, Pink Performer, Yellow Fighter, and Green Defender, are strong against one of the 2 others and weak against the other one, being neutral to their own type. We then have another fight where Rising Dragon levels up and gains the move Fireball, which instead of targeting the active Zombo on the opposing team, targets whichever one you choose. But for Rising Dragon, it does the same amount of damage as Karate Kick, so it's only good in certain scenarios. Finally, we make our way to the pop stage, where we find Rapella, He was fast asleep, and 3 Zombos who have stolen the microphones from the stage. I'm not going to go too in depth about Rapella or any of the other Zubos due to the fact that outside of the story, we won't be using them, so they're not that important. While defeating these Zombos, Robo got his last individual move, Rough Justice, which is a stronger form of Spin Stun, and Piggy got her last move, Overload, that, like Rock Out, is able to exact Zombos through shields, but is also able to damage all Zombos on the opposing team, although with less damage to each Zombo than Rock Out, which only does damage to 1. After defeating the Zombos around the stage, we replace the microphones and wake up Rapella, who gives us the option of letting her go with us, which we'll get from all the rest of the Zubos that we encounter at one point or another, which we will always decline. We then head to Team Pop's trailers, where we find a Zombo where Rising Dragon gets his last move, and the last move we get for our team, Evo Smash, which is just a higher damage dealing move, nothing too special. By defeating the Zombos, we save Kitty Bling, but when we go try to get Zippy out of her trailer, she refuses, only wanting to get out if Hunchy is there, giving us our next objective. Before leaving the area with the trailer, Zubo 1 gives us a feature that is not too useful for his playthrough, being able to switch out our team whenever we like. Although the main feature itself is something that won't be useful unless necessary, it does allow us to look back at our team's moves and experience, which does come in handy. After fighting some more Zombos, we meet the villain of this section of the game, Sleepyhead, or as I like to call him, Eepyhead, who leads the Zombos in this area and is putting the Zubos to sleep. With meeting Eepyhead, we enter our first boss battle. Having the Zombos, Rags, Dombey, and Dracul, we start the battle by having Rising Dragon use Pile Driver as we start to gain power pills before he becomes stunned. Pinky then uses Rock Out, followed by Patty Cake, knocking out Dombey. Rising Dragon then uses Evo Smash, which knocks out Rags, which leaves only Dracul left. Robo then spin stuns him twice, knocking him out and having us win the battle. After defeating the Eepyhead, we enter an area of the fairy tale zone of the section and fight some Zombos before I buy our first gift we should give to the Zubos, to give them a random buff. I give this gift to Pinky, which gives her a teddy bear, which to my knowledge does nothing, so we'll have to buy another one for her to actually get a buff. Then it's time for us to have another fight against the Eepyhead, who has now put Sleeping Mist to prevent us from being able to get to its tower, and it's time for another boss fight, even though we just had one. This time we're fighting Snooze, Red, and Alice. We start by having Robo use Slam Dunk twice, before Rising Dragon uses Evo Smash. After this, Robo is knocked out by Red, uses a move similar to Rising Fireball. In revenge, Pinky uses Overload, which knocks out Alice before being put to sleep by Snooze. Rising follows up by using Karate Kick twice before being put to sleep himself. Once Pinky is awake again, we have her use Patty Cake, which knocks out Snooze, gives us the win, has both her and Rising level up to level 4, and unlocks her move skill upgrade. Move skill upgrades make the execution of moves harder, especially if you're not playing by using the touchscreen, by adding more taps as well as holds, but it allows the moves to do more damage. After the battle, I buy another gift. This time I give it to Rising Dragon, which ends up being a bronze medal, which gives him an experience bonus for something that's good with us keeping the same Zubos throughout the game. And now it's off to the horror zone, where we meet Rags, and instead of following we take a detour, Zombo fight included, to meet Dombey, where we play a whack-a-mole game to unlock him. I remember being a kid and having so much trouble with the game, and sometimes even missed or skipped him entirely, due to being out of the way with no prompt to go get him. Despite younger me's troubles with this minigame, I was able to win first time, just to deny Dombey a spot on the team. Getting back on track, we enter a horror house and are instructed by Rags to find portraits stolen by the Zombos around the house and return them to a proper place. While looking for them, we meet Bolts, who we need to find 4 generators to help him wake up. After we find and hang back up a portrait, it's on to the swamp to head to Hunchy's tower to get Hunchy. I go ahead and get her a gift for her, which ends up being another teddy bear. At the cliffs, on the way to the swamp, Rising Dragon gets his move skill upgrade from some Zombos, and we make a quick stop and fight in the swamp before we are once again face to Hologram with EP Head for another battle. This battle, we are against a Zombo version of Pinky, Rapella, and Shimmer. We start the fight with Rising using Pile Drive, followed by Pinky using Patty Cake and Overload. We then have Rising use Evo Smash, which knocks out the Zombo Pinky, while our Pinky uses Rock Out to knock out Rapella. Rising then uses Karate Kick, followed by Evo Smash to knock out Shimmer and give us the win. Following the battle, we are given our first scroll, which I use on Robo. Looking back on this, I was not sure the best Zubo on my team to use scrolls on, so for now, they'd like to just be given out randomly. Heading to Hunchy's tower, we see that he is sleeping, and then we go upstairs to wake him up by ringing the bell in the tower, which allows us to get Hunchy, and we now head through a swamp to return to the pop stage to get Zippy. On the way, Robo gets his move skill upgrade, and we fight a good amount of Zombos. Meet Roswell for the first time, a Zubo who is very interested about cows, and a Zubo we don't actually get into go to the next section of the game. We also meet U-Bot. Back at pop stage, I buy 2 more gifts in hopes of getting good buffs for Pinky and Robo. Better than Teddy Bear at least. Pinky got a dirt block, which despite how a name makes it sound, is actually better than a Teddy Bear, giving her improved healing. Robo got a Teddy Bear. Again! Yay! So I had to get him another gift, which ended up giving him a bronze medal. Zubo 1 is a completely useless function, the Move Changer. It's useless because, as I said earlier, we hate variety, and we'll be sticking with the same 4 moves for each of our Zubos. Going to the trailers, we do end up having to replace a member of our party for Hunchy. Because this is just for overall purposes and has nothing to do with the battle, I go ahead and allow this switch to happen to unlock Zippy before putting Hunchy back in the area of characters unused in the run. Now it's time for us to get rid of the mist. As we head to Fairy Tale Zone, we see Chip walking and decide to follow him to East Woods. I type this into my script realizing that the name's on the top of the map. There we defeat some Zombos that are able to get rid of the mist that has put Chip to sleep due to him spotting the EP Head. We follow Chip more to show us where he went. It's time for another fight. Having the Zombos Rags, Dombey, and Hunchy. We start by having Rising use Pile Drive, followed by Karate Kick and Evo Smash before he gets stunned. Pinky then goes for Rock Out before she gets weakened, but we still have her go for Rock Out again to knock out Dombey. Rising then goes for Karate Kick to knock out Rags before being knocked out himself by Hunchy. Robo then uses Spin Stun twice, followed by a Slam Dunk, but is knocked out after. With only people left, she goes for Rock Out twice before she gets knocked out by Hunchy, giving us our first lose of the run. The main reason why this fight was lost was due to my Zubos not being fully healed, because I ran out of food, which outside of buying from a store with notes, which I usually want to save for getting gifts and scrolls, battles are the only way to get them in chests, which are random. Battles against civilians are highly likely to cause losses, so not too upset about this one. But I will be keeping a tracker so we can tell how many has happened. Despite this, I was able to easily make it to the trailers where I used one of the beds to heal my team back to full and try again. We start off by having Rising use Power Drive, followed by Karate Kick and Evo Smash, knocking out Hunchy. Pinky then uses Rock Out 3 times, knocking out Dombey, before Rising goes for Karate Kick before being knocked out by Rags. Robo then uses Spin Stun twice, knocking out Rags and giving us the win. Behind EP Head, we find the crank to the bridge and we head back to lower it before heading to the castle courtyard, where we are fighting a Zombo. We meet Cinders in exchange for cleaning the fairy house will help us out. So, we do just that. Afterwards, she tells us that Dracul may be able to get through the mist and gives us the key to the graveyard, our next destination. Heading to the graveyard through the northern woods, we once again meet our favorite EP Head for another battle as he flaunts his knowledge of who's able to get through the mist. This time, the Zombos are Cinder, Shimmer, and Chip, as we start with Rising using Pile Drive, followed by Robo using Slam Dunk, followed by Rough Justice twice. We then have Rising use Karate Kick, then another Rest Justice for Robo, which knocks out Chip, and a Slam Dunk that knocks out Cinder. To finish up the battle, Rising uses Evo Smash twice to knock out Shimmer and give us the win. I head to a shop after to buy a scroll, which I give to Pinky, and we make our way to the graveyard, where there we have to find the gate keys that Dracul has hid. After finding the keys and scaring Dracul's ghost named Jasper and opening the gates, we finally come face to face with Dracul himself, who tells us that he's having Zombo problems. Going to Dracul's keep, we end up getting one of the generators for bolts. Before we can deal with the Zombos, we have to play a Simon-like game on Dracul's magic organ to open the door. Now, the first Zombo battle gave me no trouble at all. The second one on the other end gave me so much trouble that I thought I would almost have to start over the entire run. Going into a fight, my team was at low health, with Pinky barely holding on by a thread, and both the Zombos, Neptune and Minotaur, were a level above all three of my Zubos. So we got our second loss of the playthrough. But that's fine, even though we just have no food, we can just head back from the graveyard, go back to the haunted house, and use the bed too. Oh. Turns out you cannot go out of the graveyard after you enter until you finish this part of the story. Fun! You may think that this is the end of the run. All of my Zubos are at 1 HP, who will be knocked out in one hit before we can even knock out the Zombos. But there's a saving grace in the combat system that I conveniently not mentioned yet. Lucky Streaks. To help promote the room aspect of the game and being accurate when you perform moves, getting a sweep rank on all taps. Not only do you deal the maximum damage and get the most power builds, you also have a chance of attacking before your enemy's turn without needing to stun. This is the only chance I had to win this battle and continue the game. Because of the fact that if it wasn't for my only way of healing being blocked, I'm not going to fully count these tries as losses, but I will keep track of how many attempts it took me to win. Attempt number 6 was that winning attempt. I start by having Robo use Slam Dunk before being knocked out by Neptune. Rising uses Karate Kick before being knocked out by Minotaur, leaving only Pinky. Pinky uses Overload, Lucky Streak, Salsa Slap, which knocks out Minotaur, Lucky Streak, and finishes off Neptune with another Salsa Slap, which gives us the win. Finally. We enter back into Keep, get a generator from Dracul who informs about Snooze, the Zubo who can get past the mist, and tells us to go through the basement of a haunted house, get back to the castle courtyard, which requires us to awaken bolts. On our way back from the graveyard, we spot a Zombo, who has the last generator we need to wake up bolts. Compared to our previous fight, this one's easy. We get the last generator we need, and finally make it back to a haunted house. Before we get inside and fully hear our team, however, our best friend Eepyhead pays us a visit, and we have to go against Thor, Medusa, and Clop. Starting Rising using Pile Drive, then Salsa Slap from Pinky, followed by Overload and another Salsa Slap. Overload once again, knocking out Clops before Salsa Slap knocks out Medusa and Spin Stun from Robo knocks out Thor. With that done, I buy some scrolls and using the bed and haunted house heal everyone up to full health. Going down to the basement and placing all the generators, Bolts wakes up and gets rid of a stone that's in the way. Now, in the catacombs, we find a Zubo scared from spiders. This turns out to be Zap, who's looking for Kitty Bling and gladly asks to join us, and return us keeping quiet about his fear. Exiting the catacombs, we enter the magical forest and meet Red. He tells us to get a key for the maze. We need to walk slowly to the chest guarded by a dragon, as our good friend Eepyhead, for some reason, does not want us to get Snooze. After getting the key, we do our first fight with a Zombo that I end up fighting 3 times because it respawns, and I went back to the store. I give this quote that I brought earlier to Pinky, due to how Overlord is able to do damage to all Zombos, as well as how she's the only Zubo in our team to not have an experience boost. It's best to have her be at the highest level to deal the most damage to the Zombos, sometimes even being at higher levels than the Zombos we're fighting against. Because we have received the key, Eepyhead meets us in the courtyard and has us fight Red, Chip, and Cinders. We start by having Robo use Slam Dunk twice, followed by an overload from Pinky twice, which knocks out all the Zombos at once and gives us the win. Going into the castle, we give our Zubos a quick heal before meeting Alice, who has us play a matching game before being rejected from joining the team. We then head to the Heart Maze, that whole snooze. One of the most annoying parts of the game. This maze has gates that, unlike other gates, close on a timer, and with the use of a touchscreen, getting through them is tough. After some tries, I end up making it to Snooze, who we then meet up with at the courtyard, where she then goes through and disables the Sleepy Mist. After Snooze returns, there's nothing else to do but to go fight Eepy Head once and for all. Before we do so, I go ahead and buy more scrolls to give to Pinky, and we make our way into the tower. Honestly, there's nothing special about the fodder leading up to the final battle, outside of leveling up, so I'll just skip the final battle. On the top floor, we meet the Eepster in the corner as the final battle begins. We're up against Dombey, Matt, and Dracul. Robo starts with Slam Dunk, followed by Patty Cake and Overload twice from Pinky, knocking out all the Zombos, and winning us the battle. That was a lie though, as we finally see Eepy Head in the face, where he honestly looks super desaturated, and we have another battle against him, the last one. This time, Snooze, Chip, and Alice. We start with Slam Dunk from Robo and a Patty Cake from Pinky. Pinky then uses Overload twice, which knocks out all of the Zombos and gives us a final victory against Eepy Head, our friend. Or, shall I say little sibling, as immediately after dealing with him, he goes up to tell on Big Head. By telling us, he ends up just telling on himself, which ends up getting him deleted before Big Head talks to us directly, saying that he will win, showing us this is not the end of the game. But for now, we're able to rescue Shimmer, and it's time to celebrate before going after Big Head, as we watch Team Pop's gig, and then get on a ship to go after Big Head. Without getting stuck in a turbulence and have to abandon our ship, and has us land in the second section of the game, in Gold Rush Gut. So, that's the first run of Zubo done. I'm really glad I decided to do this playthrough, as I usually play it by switching out my team and targeting a Zubo stronger than the current one I have, of the same type. Because of this, keeping the same treatment moves has been a bit fun and challenge, as I'm missing some of the abilities the other moves and Zubos have, like putting a Zubo to sleep, or having a move solely dedicated to farming power pills. I am planning to do the other parts of the game in other videos, but with this being the first video I've ever had to script out, and is much longer recording than my other videos, it's good for these to be serious rather than a single long video. So, if you do want to see the next part, please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell, or all the YouTube stuff, and I'll try to get the next part out as soon as I can. If you're watching this at a later date, and the next video is already out, or even the whole series, you can click the playlist here that contains the rest of the series. You can also click here if you want to go through the totally not horrible task of watching my other videos, if they even do exist. Anyway, bye!